Alright my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I want to talk to you guys about the 7600 XT from AMD and the 4070 from Nvidia. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now today's going to be a controversial video, probably. It's going to make a lot of people mad. But, oh well, let's talk about this because what I have here is the regular 4070 from MSI. It's the Ventus 3 model. As you can see, it's got the 1/8 pin. Flip it around to the back. It does have a metal plate on the back. Very, very thin though. I mean, this is literally not even a... I mean, this is like folded metal. It's very thin. You can tell that this thing is probably... it's very, very thin. Almost kind of feels plastic. Actually, you know what? It probably is plastic. Yep, it is plastic. This whole time I thought it was metal, but it is absolute plastic. So we have the whole plastic construction of the MSI. There's no RGB or nothing. Cooler, everything. Heatsink looks pretty decent. Not too bad. But then you can see the thickness of this, you know, like the AMD card versus the Nvidia card. Now let's go ahead and look at the AMD card, which actually has metal. Yeah, that's metal. And it's definitely thicker, so it's got an actual metal back plate on the XFX version of this. Same 3 fans that has. It looks like they're about the same size fan, like 270 millimeters or something. They look like they're about the same. When I'm looking in there and seeing like the coolers and stuff, I mean obviously the AMD has a more beefy cooler on there, but today's video, the purpose of today's video is not to talk about the overall quality of the build, but actually what you get for the money. And I'm going to do my best today to argue why I would choose this 7600 XT over the 4070. I know that. What are you talking about? The 4070 is more powerful and it has DLSS. I get that. I do get that. But for the cost of the money, after having the 7600 XT in my PC for a few days and testing it out and playing some games and seeing, you know, just where the performance hits and everything, for what you're getting for $349 versus what you're getting for $600, that to me is freaking crazy how good this 7600 XT actually stacks up. When you look at like the frame rate, even at like 1440p, you're getting, I mean you're literally getting like 20-30 frames more on the $600 card. So I mean, it's like, dang dude, the performance of that is just not worth it. I believe on what game was that? It was the Lords of the Fallen, man. And this was the reason, this is the game that I pulled that back out of there. I'm going to show you right now the, let's see, screen capture is on right there. I'm going to just show you this real quick. We're going to look at some of these. Okay, so if I do that, boom. So now we have that right there. Now let me just go into here. So I have the RTX 4070 tab right here. Let's pull up Lords of the Fallen and play this on our media player. Now I want you to look at the let me turn the sound off on this. We don't need no sound. Okay, so we'll go ahead and watch this a little bit, and I want you to look at that. So we're about 100 frames. This is the 4070, about 105, you know, 100-ish frames while we're running through here. This is ultra settings, no DLSS, none of that, nothing else on there whatsoever. And like we'll watch this fight, and then we'll watch the 7600 Dang, man, I can't see myself. I cannot see myself. I mean, I guess I could, do like the full screen thing or whatever on this one right here so that you guys can. Oh, whoops. But yeah, this is gonna be I mean, it's gonna be a tough sell no matter how you look at it. To be completely honest with you. But let's go ahead and bump that one all the way up to like the full thing, and just let you kind of see this overall experience and how it aligns with what you would get out of the other one. So you're about 120 frames like in this fight right here or whatever. Which I mean is fairly decent on the 4070. So this guy whooped my butt again. Like one of these days, during one of these, I'll actually be able to beat this and and get through this. Like, oh no. Oh man, he didn't even give me a chance to fight him on this. Look at that, dude. I was just donezo really quick. But see, like we're at, yeah, like, anywhere from, the 90s up to 100 on this fight. So let's get back out of this one, and then let's jump in over here into the wait, did I just take my thing off? Oh no, I made it like real small. That's what I did. So now let's go over here into the 7600 XT. Let's go down to Lords of the Fallen. And then we'll open this bad boy and turn that on to full. So this is the same exact settings for this game at 1440p. I think I'm going to show you right now. Like the same settings. Yeah, 1440p ultimate settings, all of that stuff. This is the exact same settings at 1440p for this $300 less card. And then you look at like the frame rate, like 73, and if you turn on fluid motion frames on this, you're going to be able to get right the same frame rate that you were getting with the 4070, and then be able to I mean, and it's almost like crazy, going up just a little bit, going down just a little bit. And believe it or not, the fluid motion frames on here is actually running pretty decently. Like cutscene or whatever was going up to like 120 over there on the Nvidia. Like right here we're about 90-ish frames. I mean, obviously like for like visuals. I mean, I have some other 4070 footage and stuff in there, but I've got most of it is with the AMD card. So we'll check out some more of these, that I've done, and I'll leave that fluid motion frames thing on there because look, you're pushing 140 frames down there, and it feels absolutely incredible throughout this whole fight. We're staying right around the 70s or whatever throughout this whole fight, which is pretty dang good for a $350 card at 1440p running an Unreal Engine 5 title that looks this gosh dang amazing. To me, that just is incredible performance out of a $350 card to be able to run something like this and and give you that performance. And then with the added bonus of fluid motion frames, this card here with fluid motion frames literally rivals what you get out of the 4070. Because let's think about it. The 4070 does not have frame generation on all DX11 and DX12 games. The 7600 XT does. It's got 16 gigs of VRAM, so you will have more than enough VRAM when you get into your 1440p games, and even potentially playing some of this stuff at 4K, which I've found this card has been very good and able to do a lot of that stuff at 4K. at least better than the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Like, this AMD card is absolutely incredible. Did he completely whoop on us all the way? No, not yet. Oh dang, we got a 50s. Okay, we got some 50s right here. When you pass away, when he's got all that fog and stuff in there. So I mean, even that right there, you know, bringing your whatchamacallit, your frame rate down to when you're dying, but like with the action all there, it was just fine. So I mean, right now you're about 60. You get close to about half, almost half of what the performance was as of the 4070. Give or take a little bit, but with fluid motion frames, it closes that gap. If you turn on frame generation and stuff with the 4070, it goes up a little bit more, but you don't ever get like a double frame rate over on the Nvidia side where you do on the AMD one. So like we're gonna go ahead and check out another game in here. We're gonna look at see, I've got recordings for all of this stuff right here right now. If we get into I just don't have a lot of them for the other one. Let's look at some Hogwarts Legacy, because this one here is a newer game. Oh no, I don't want to do it on that one. That's so annoying. Let's see right here, media player. Get in here, open with the media player. And we'll look at this frame rate. We've also got some fluid motion frames enabled on this one. So we're running here. We got the fluid motion frames. We're at 1440p, I believe, on this one here too. Running through here on native resolution, and you can just see that, like, wow, the overall smoothness of this experience on a 7600 XT is actually fairly decent, to where you could honestly save some money and buy this and still get a playable experience out of a lot of these freaking games. Like, you can hit your 60 frames a second, enable fluid motion frames, and jump your frame rate even more, to where the overall experience stays pretty dang stable. Another game I want to show you real quick is... all of these videos have been uploaded, so if you question like anything that I'm showing you right now, you can always just look for said video, look it up. Tekken 8, I believe this one right here is 4K footage of this game. This card running a brand new Unreal Engine 5 game at 4K resolution. Oh no, wait, this here's using my my fight stick for this one now. I was using my fight stick on this one, but I believe we were at 4K. Oh no, this isn't the one. Sorry guys, this is not the droid we were looking for. This one here I didn't have a frame rate counter on. I believe it's this one right here. I think I uploaded that video so that you guys could watch that. Yeah, so this is the 61. And let's get into a fight. This is 4K 60 frames a second on a brand new Unreal Engine 5 fighting game that is pretty much a locked 60 frames per second, delivering fast, fluid action, and it's incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Very playable. I'm not very good at Tekken. Just kind of learning. I never really got into Tekken when I was younger. I was more into like the Dead or Alive, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, but this one here is starting to grow on me. I really love the overall visual quality of this game and just how freaking dense it looks. This looks cool. This gives me like, this game right here takes me back to like the days of like, oh my gosh, when like a new system would come out and you're like, yeah, it looks incredible. That's what this game did for me the moment I got in here and started fighting and stuff. You can just look at the super fine detail of here. The only time it drops frames on this card is in the in like these sections right here, but in the action, 4K, 60 frames a second, all the freaking way, and it's incredible. It's incredible how freaking potent this little $350 GPU is, You know, I should have went back and got some of that footage for the 4070 on these games, but you know what, man, this game is locked at 60 frames a second, so being able to do 4K at 60 on this is actually pretty freaking sweet. I like the ground detail on this stage, the mountains and the scenery, just how freaking oh. These are the kind of experiences that give me a lot of hope for the 7600 XT. Being able to like push these and as you can see, like VRAM usage, we're at like 101 or 130. So yeah, like having 16 gigs of VRAM on this card is absolutely great for being able to go from 1080p all the way up to 4K and still be able to get a freaking fighting experience on that. I mean, just the fact that you're riding right close to 60 at 4K on this, that is incredible. I think they showed that the consoles are on this game are what? 1440p. The PlayStation 5 drops under 1440p. And this right here, this card right here runs this game at 4K at freaking 60 frames a second. So let's go ahead and take a look at another one of these masterpieces, which is Ghost Recon. I love this game. This here is one of those ones that really freaking I love. So this right here, we're at 1440p. We're rocking this game with ultra settings. I'm going to show you right now. Sorry guys, it's easier to just make a video like this and just let it all play out. So with fluid motion frames enabled in a lot of these titles, you actually can boost the clarity of your overall experience significantly. In a lot of these older titles too, like these DX11, as you can see, this one here runs at DX11. I don't have a whole lot of DX11 games just yet. I'm still going through and looking for some, but when you get into an experience like this and you're 1440p or above 60 frames a second, when you drop this into 1080p or you're about 90 frames a second, like this is a very playable card. And if you're looking for a 1440p card and like you're thinking that like your 4070 or whatever is your option, just remember that like look at how much VRAM we're using. 11 gigs of VRAM. The AMD cards having more VRAM opens it up so that the games can feed more textures into that VRAM. The max VRAM that you need is obviously not that high on this game. Like look at it, it's like $68.99. So you don't necessarily need that, but you can obviously push that and keep it going. So yeah, we're at like 1440p. We're rocking over 60 frames a second. Very smooth, very stable experience on Ghost Recon. So that's something that you want to look at, you know, like the overall stability of what you're going to be able to get out of some of these games. If we get into here to some Assassin's Creed Valhalla and take a look at this. Media player, sorry guys, I'm a little bit behind the times and things, but like if you look at like the overall graphics quality on here, we're rocking, you know, high, very high. I think I changed this back to, did I leave that at 4K? Oh boy, did I? I don't think I did. I think I went back down. Or maybe I started it with 4K and then but we don't have any upsample on, or yeah, I do. Okay, yeah, it's off. So yeah, we're gonna change it. We're gonna change it to 1440p or 1080p. I think we changed it to 1080p. Yeah, so 1080p, and then we did some. So I mean, at 1080p, you're rocking well over, you know. Like your 80 frames a second. Oh wait, I think we could. Okay, so right here is 1080p. So you got 80, and then if you jump over here to 1440p, you can tell by the smaller number up there. So at 1440p, we're rocking right around 60 frames a second. With frame gen, we're rocking 120 frames. So right here, there's just above console, being able to rock over console. I wonder if I went to 4K in this video. Yep, here we go. Here's 4K. We're about 50 frames a second at 4K on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is absolutely incredible. Boosting that frame rate up with the fluid motion frames is all right. I was looking around right here. That's what I was doing. I was like, yeah, man, can I can I actually play this like this? And believe it or not, like, it doesn't feel completely terrible to play these games with a controller with fluid motion frames on them. So let's look at another experience here. Let's go into and this is me as a gamer, man, just showing you guys, like, look, guys, this nonsense about needing these super expensive GPUs to play some of these games is just madness to me. What do we got? A minute. So it was this one right here. It was like 22 minutes long. I was playing some of this. So right here, we're at 4K at the beginning of this video. You see at 4K, we're about 44, 45 frames a second at 4K with ultra settings on this game. Like, I was going to show you that real quick. So 4K, man, we're at 4K at freaking, you know, wait, did I change something in those settings to get like that frame rate up a little bit more? Let's go in here and look real quick. So display, we were at 4K. Okay, yeah. So we changed over to fidelity, you know, FX resolution, threw on some upscaling, and that got our frame rate up into the 60s at 4K. So, but I don't think it remained that high throughout it. But I went through and I took out this section right here so that you guys could see that. But then let's go over here. So this here, fighting at this, see, this is like what happens. Is it like it was getting down into like the 50s or whatever through here, but with the fluid motion frames, let me make this bigger. But with the fluid motion frames, we were still rocking over 100 frames, and it was feeling pretty dang sweet. And the overall visual clarity and everything that I was getting out of the game while playing, very playable, very, very good. And so when we look at games like this game right here does not have fluid motion frames, and I think about, you know, the overall experience when I'm playing this at 4K on the like a 7800 XT or on the 4070, I think it was like 80 frames or so, 70, 75, 80 frames. But being able to utilize something like fluid motion frames to boost that frame rate even higher, man, it's if you're on a controller, it is so indistinguishable, to be completely honest with you, that like you barely can notice the little bit added latency. Like, if you look down here in this corner, you can see like the latency is only like 30 something milliseconds, which is fairly acceptable with a controller. Like, that doesn't feel terrible at all. I mean, obviously you would want, you know, it's the lowest lag that you could get, but I mean, at 30 something milliseconds, that's not bad. I think a lot of gamers make a lot or go out of their way to try to downplay stuff as much as they can. But, you know, I would pick the visual clarity that the frame gen offers over some of that other stuff every day of the week. Let's see, is there anything else in here that I absolutely wanted to show off today in this video? We could look at some. So all of these videos are uploaded, every single one of them. Did I show off this one? Okay, so this video right here I have not uploaded yet, but I'm going to share it with you guys right now. This here, remember that, like, the shaders are still loading on this game. So we were still, you know, so we're still about 50 frames a second. I don't think I enabled the frame gen on this. Or maybe I did somewhere along the way. Yeah, I was just running this one here nice and native. This here is 1080p. We're rocking that at 1080p. Right here is 1440p. You can tell by the size of the number. And then if you, I don't think I ever ran this one here at, but I did turn on this right here at 1440p to check this out as well. I just haven't uploaded this video yet because I was planning on re-going through it now that the drivers are all loaded back in, because I didn't let them finish before starting to play this. But even at 1440p with AMD's FSR enabled, like, this game looks absolutely incredible, and you can get a playable frame rate on this, like, regardless of what you're doing. So I get that in this day and age, like, as a PC gamer, like, the one thing that we all look for the most is like higher frame rates and visual quality and ray tracing and all of that stuff. But I would like to take a minute to, like, argue that, like, do you really need all of that stuff as a gamer? And man, this is like something that I've been thinking about, because you always got these people that are like, yeah, go for the highest and go for the best. And that's like and I feel like that's an Nvidia thing. I honestly feel like that's an Nvidia thing, because when you buy these lower end cards, you know, like the 40 series or the 70 series or the, you know, like the 60s or anything like that, in my experience, I've always come away from that experience kind of feeling like, gosh dang, dude, like, this isn't what I expected this card to be able to deliver. And a lot of that honestly probably has to do with the higher price that you're paying for these things, and the overhype that's out there when it comes to the Nvidia products. Now they are good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this 4070 destroys that 7600 XT. Absolutely. Like, there's no question that 4070 absolutely destroys this 7600 XT without any kind of upscaling at all. Like, it 100% powers through it. But there are games on here that actually run better, a little bit better on the 7600 XT when you get into the 1440p range, the ones that require, you know, higher VRAM usage, because that 4070 starts to kind of hit that boundary a little bit, and it's like, oh boy, I can't do it. I can't. And so when you look at that and when you take that into account, you've got a 7600 XT that has AMD's fluid motion frames. It's a driver level feature. It'll work with all DX11, all DX12 games. You can put it in there and you can turn it on and you can see how it feels per individual game, to see if it's something that you care about in those particular games. Now, me personally, I don't mind it in open world games, and I don't mind it in racing games. Some linear, you know, path games is fine too. But when you start getting into like Call of Duties or online shooters or anything like that, where you're consistently moving the camera like really fast, I don't like it in those. It doesn't feel. I mean, it feels fine, but it doesn't. But it adds a level of, because you're moving so fast all the time, it just adds that level of a little bit, like, depending on your overall frame rate. If your frame rate's high, it doesn't matter. If your frame rate is lower, then it does matter. Like, if you've got like 100 frames a second on a first person shooter, it's actually okay. It's not too bad. But if you're like 60, in between 60 to 70, it's gonna add a little bit of judder in the background. Like, you're gonna see like the buildings kind of wobble and move when you turn the camera. And so like that, I don't recommend it, because obviously that even gets below my standards for image quality. Whereas, yeah, then it starts to fall apart. Now, I know I've said millions of times that I don't recommend video cards or anything on the Magic, you know, like DLSS. Upscaling. I will never recommend you a graphics card due to upscaling, like DLSS or FSR. I do not think that those should even be considered in any way, shape, or form. Like, I don't. The only reason this video is focusing a little bit on fluid motion frames is due to the fact that, like, you can save a bunch of money and still get the same image quality at 1440p, at 1080p, and you can play games at 4K and still have, you know, a varying degree of success in what you can play. Plus, you have the 16 gigs of VRAM on there, and then the fluid motion frames can pretty much double your frame rate to give you the frame rate that you would be getting on a 4070 on a significant amount of titles that are out there. Significant. All DX11, all DX12. So this is one of those things where you can literally take a minute and be like, okay, wait a minute. You know, and I do recommend trying fluid motion frames before jumping in. But I'm telling you on my side that it doesn't bug me at all. I actually like it. I think it is pretty decent for a lot of these older games that you can play. And it gives these entry level freaking cards, man. Like it gives these entry level cards some legs that we have never seen before in the PC space. It's not locked to anything. It is locked to 7,000 and 6,000 series GPUs, but it's not locked down. No, it's not like, oh yeah, you can play it on this game, but not that game. So that right there it opens the door to help you be able to make this card last significantly longer than I think any GPU ever before. And I mean, with the 6,000 series cards out there, yeah, you can use it on those too. So I would recommend either the 6700 XT for the same price as this card or this card over a 4070. And that's my recommendation is, yeah, don't fall for the whole DLSS thing and actually get yourself something that's going to last longer than that. So, all right, my friends, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have fun.